Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Shri Ram, Jai Ram,
Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram Jai 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 Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. One second.
Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. 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 Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hari Om to everybody. Pranam, pranam. Huh? Pranam, pranam. Where are we now? All points have been forgotten.
It's 6 points. 6 points.
Huh?
6 points.
What was the first point?
Inner voice.
Inner voice.
Second on Vairagya.
Let others also say.
Yes.
Inner voice. On inner voice, what do we mean there? What does it touch and kindle in us? No? That is very important. No?
To go into your mind and heart and try to have oneness in mind and be after the ever-present Ram Nam on the forefront, always on our lips.
Anybody has got any other? On inner voice, we have been trying to dwell upon it intensely because that was the foundation upon which the spiritual journey was built. Those of us who remember the in-depth study of In Quest of God, this word comes on the first page of the first chapter. First page of the first chapter of In Quest of God. all forgotten.
Utter helplessness. In the prayer was right.
So we have to keep on praying to Him that you have made us intellectually understood, that hearing the inner voice is one revealment of your presence in my heart, because it is not coming anything from outside. So if we are blessed with that experience, we don't need any other authentication from outside. He is within us.
Despair not, I am with you always.
So all of us are trying, or we have to try if we have not tried. Why don't I have been doing Ramnam for so many years? My mind has been telling me that I am a sadhaka, I am an aspirant, but still you remain to be a concept in my mind, because I have not felt your presence within, though I have intellectually understood that you are within. So in order that my sadhana becomes more intense, why don't you please reveal this to me? Once you make me aware of your presence in the form of that inner voice, something like that, Not only that Papa is kindling these thoughts in us, he is pushing us to that. So during our period of sadhana, suppose we try to intensely pray to him. That you make me aware of your presence within, in the form of an inner voice, which you blessed Papa with when he was passing through trying moments. Later on, we also happened to hear from Gandhiji's narrative that he was also blessed with this. Because of that particular inner voice, Papa did not think twice at all that he was searching for God outside. He was now 100% sure that he is within him. And later on, when he started pursuing that, he knew that he exists because he is there in sin. So for an effective sadhana,
kindly mute the audio, please.
You can mute, no?
Yeah. God has muted.
call Srinaji. Srinaji called here
Yes, Swami. Swamiji, Shino says
because I told him.
this is not working. He said.
Not working, huh?
No.
Sorry, okay, then you don't worry. Don't call
We
him.
asked him, it is not working.
But I saw the light yesterday, when the light. Anyway, it's all right. We'll talk to him later. Inner voice, please think over it. Why we are repeating again and again and again. You are hearing?
Yes,
Oh.
yes, Swamiji.
Huh?
Yes, yes,
There,
yes,
it
Swamiji.
came back also. It has come back.
Moving towards God realization, intensifying our sadhana, all those things, let us keep it in mind. But now emergency, what are we trying now? At least why don't you bless me with an inner voice? A device by which you make me know that you are within me. I don't need any other external factor to confirm this. I only ask this for a trice, not even for a minute, that is enough. So that I will not search for you outside. My whole life becomes blessed if you make me aware of your inner voice, once at least. Actually, Papa or Gandhiji did not pray like this. It was the outcome of their sadhana. But they have expressed this. And they are now making us to go through it. So we take it as God's direction. That hearing His inner voice is the most safest factor that will enable us to move forward. Only when we intensely pray, He will make us aware of if there are any more requisites. How do I become eligible? I don't know. These things cannot come from outside. The Guru only places before us his experience. Out of total helplessness, utter helplessness, when he cried, he heard. We were just now going through one article. A person has written a book on power of temples. Just now, prior to coming to this hall, he was a skeptic. Somehow God pushed him to so many circumstances where he knew all the rational approach were not paying any dividends. And finally, God brought him to a place called Guruvayur. He was sitting at the place where normally, the pravachans, everything is going on. You see how God arranges, With a mind full of conflicts, especially when you become too much rational, all these things will happen. So, in a highly confused state, he was sitting. Suddenly, a person came and sat near him. He looked at him and said, "I am from Bombay." Somehow, this person looked at him and found that the other man was very, very loving and pleasing. So, through probably his body language, he encouraged him to talk. The other man continued his narrative. He showed his left leg. This was to be amputated. And a day was fixed in a leading hospital in Bombay. He was in Bombay, he comes from Bombay. So the doctors, all experts, they confirmed that there is no other way than to amputate. So when his wife heard this, she couldn't bear it. She was an ardent devotee of Guru Ayappan. Lord Krishna is endearingly called Guru Ayappan. Intensely she prayed. When the date of operation was nearing, they went again for checkup. The doctor examined and said, "You don't have to go through any operation. And there is no, I can't answer you how your Guru Ayappan's blessings. It's only a miracle, his miracle." That dialogue changed his attitude towards idol worship, power of the idol, power of the faith. So the inner voice can come through so many things, They don't need any other proof. To them sitting in Bombay, praying to Guru Ayappan who is seated within, they could get the answers. Not merely a voice, in the form of a miracle. So we are trying to understand the intensity of his wife's devotion. So we now, probably many of us would have had some experience like that, but still we thought he is outside, Through Papa's words, we understand that the inner voice emanating from within convinced him of his presence within. That is why later on he did not seek anything from outside.
Swamiji,
Ah.
I have that experience three, 4 times of
Ah.
Mataji.
Ah.
My place, as soon as I pray, before praying, I just remember, Papa, he will come to help. I had that experience.
Ah.
Now also I am having. It's my inner voice telling.
Because the tangible gain is we are thoroughly now not convinced, it's an experience for us that he is within.
Yes, Swami.
Ah.
Very well.
He is within, that is the reality. But until we get something like this, we will still be searching for him, seeking him outside. Because we know that Papa was also initially a devotee of the Lord in the form of Lord Krishna. But here in this book, it is clearly mentioned, where is relief, where is rest? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. The cry was heard, and from the great void came the voice. Despair not, trust me, thou shalt be free. And this was the voice of Ram. Many of us, or most of us, may be having some chosen deity in our heart, right from beginning. So we can now direct our attention intensely to the deity and say, I have been praying to you, but you have not made me aware that you are within me. So you are still, I feel you are away from me, far from me. And in a crudest form expression, I can say that you are a concept. You have not become a reality to me. It is a philosophy, it's a theory, it's an intellectual, knowledge. I want that experience. You gave it to them. I want that. Kindly think about this. Very, very important point. Papa wants us to concentrate upon this aspect. Inner voice, inner voice, inner voice, inner voice. The more we think about it, then only we realize that it is the first indication of His presence within. Either through a form or through an abstract thought. We will get that experience. Now in Papa's case, we find he said great void. So it was impersonal, absolutely impersonal. That is why he named the Atman or spirit or God as subtle and mysterious power. Papa had no confusion at all. Absolutely impersonal. So it was an experiential revelation. A revelation born out of experience. Not a theory, not knowledge. Because the next sentence confirms this. These encouraging words of Ram proved like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for the very life in the stormy waves of a raging sea. These encouraging words, despair not, trust me, you shall be free, And this was the voice of Ram. These encouraging words of Ram, the subtle and mysterious power, proved like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for a very life in the stormy waves of a raging sea. The great assurance soothed the aching heart of helpless Ramdas, like gentle rain on thirsting earth. Thenceforward, a part of the time that was formerly totally devoted to worldly affairs was taken up for the meditation of Ram, who for that period gave him real peace and relief. So that is how the whole thing is built up. That is why it's very important for all of us. Because Papa was blessed with that experience by which he was 100% clear, 100% clear, that God is within. And so then the whole thing comes out, He has actuated my life. That is why in a flowery word he has said, like gentle rain on thirsting earth. Then, thenceforward, a part of the time that was formerly spent devoted to worldly affairs was taken up for the meditation of Ram. Because direct experience is there, of his voice. So he was meditating on it. The more he meditated, the more he was deriving joy. Initially it was only during that period. Later on it came to stay with him. That also we have seen. So as sadhakas, aspirant devotees of Papa, we take a clue from that. Now we have to direct our attention to that. Why don't you make me aware of your presence, at least for a trice, at least for a fraction of a second. I know I am not eligible for it. I have not purified my mind. I have not made it ready. I have not made it receptive. But still you have to intervene and make me aware. So that I will be moving. Huh?
One doubt, Swamiji. It is in our daily life, it's very critical stage that if we pray sincerely to Papa with complete dedication, he indirectly or directly answers that with the solution. But in the same time, we ask for remuneration, he doesn't do it. Why is it so?
Worldly things immediately he will grant. Any like this something when we ask.
When we pray, when we are in distress or some problem, so he answers.
Anything spiritual when we ask, immediately it doesn't grant.
When we know that he answers, what does it show? The intensity we have while praying for any worldly problem, it might not be there. Not that knowingly. Unknowingly, it is not, that intensity is not there. Exclusive, it's not there. Because we still want to manage in the way in which it has been going. No doubt, we realize his relevance, his benediction, his blessing, everything is there. But we have not still come to a stage where we want this one priority. Because you give me problems one after another, and when I pray to you, you are solving it, helping me to solve it. But still I have not prayed to you, that when I pray to you, you are helping, or I think I feel always safe when I pray to you. You are the prop, you are the support, but I have not prayed for you. Somehow you have not prompted me to pray for you. You have prompted me to pray for relief of many of the problems I come across. So you have not prompted me to pray for you. So that is why he is again and again and again and again making us to go through this particular word, to make it as intense as possible. If we just read and go, nice to hear, we will forget about it. But when he keeps on repeatedly stressing on this point, the mind is slowly drawn to this point. And suddenly, as you said now, we realize there have been many occasions when you have come to my rescue. But after that, I forget again. I am back to my own realm. Whenever again you give me a kick, I pray to you. So now I am asking you, it's all right. Bygones are bygones. why don't you please bless me now? At least once, for a twice at least, so that first of all I become aware you are there. The moment I become aware you are there, I also realize you have actuated my life. The moment I become aware that you have actuated my life, the burden of my life is transferred to you. With all this hearing, we still think we are the planners, we are the executors, we formulate our own ideas for a successful life, for a peaceful life, for a devotional life. Everything we plan, no? So this is very vital for all of us. Now we understand why he has put it in the first page. First para. Now when we read it and reread it, clarity comes more and more. And then we realize that it is on this experience that he built up his entire spiritual sadhana. He chanted, we are also chanting. He prayed, we are also praying. But in 2 years he was able to. That question now slowly gets answered. Even in spite of decades of doing so many things, we still feel we are at the starting point. For others, we may say so many things, but as far as we are concerned, we feel we are still at the starting point. That means he is a concept, he continues to be a concept.
So Swamiji, struggles will exist, and after prayer there can be the possibility of serenity.
Huh?
Struggles will continue if, at a particular point, if something happens, then our prayers will be heard.
Struggles are must, and everybody has to feel that, and after having come across, after prayer, intense prayer, the serenity may come.
After intense prayer, serenity will come.
Now, what we are trying to find out is this point very clear to everybody?
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Somewhere in the corner of our mind, this should come back again and again. Why don't you make me aware of your presence within, even for the shortest period? We don't know whether we are right, but this is the thought now comes. Probably this would be the foundation for every bhakthottamas to feel his presence always, 24/7. When Purandharadasa, when he was a pawn, dealer, a person who gives money, money lender based upon the ornaments we give, pawn. There is a particular word.
Pawnbroker.
A pawnbroker, correct. Pawnbroker. So he was like that, and he was living on this interest. And God played because he knew the time has come, because instrumental cause is his wife had absolute faith. So God played a drama there. He went there for some alms to the husband. Husband abused him and asked him to go out. Again and again he came. Finally he threw a coin which is not valid. He went there to his wife, the Lord went there to his wife. She was a great devotee. He explained that somebody is having some upanayana, we need some money. We went there to, so your husband said nothing doing, he threw this out. So why don't you give me your ornaments? So this lady immediately, did not think twice. She removed her earrings or something and gave it to him. No string, and rushed back. Again, when he saw, he said, you have again come here and you are shouting. I said, I have come here to do business now. What business? I pledged this, you give me money. The moment he saw this nose ring, he knew it was his wife's. He immediately rushed up there and they knocked the door opened, the wife, he asked, where is your nose ring? He said, it is there in the puja room, bring it. So she went to the Tulsi stand where she does puja and she cried, you have put me in an awkward position now. You came here and I gave it you. Now the husband will not understand this language. If I don't show him, then I had it. So either you show me this or take away my life. With that she was trying to bang. Finally, then she heard sound, and when she opened, the nose ring was there. She took the nose ring, showed it to the husband. So the husband, kept the nose ring in his shelf safely. So he rushed up there. It was not there. That was the turning point. By the time the Lord has disappeared, he immediately rushed back to her and said, tell me what had happened and where is he now? And the whole thing got changed, transformed. He wanted to see him again now. He had seen him. Then at that time his approach to that person was different. He was seeing him as an individual. Now he knew. Then he started asking. Then that night he went, set fire to the entire property. And next morning he left with his children and wife. We call it as Vairagya, next, bidding farewell. So the first, and later on, throughout his, in all his compositions, you will find how he brings out the indwelling and all-pervading reality. So like that, Lord blesses such bhakthottamas, sit down there, back. Through any such incidents where they get first-hand experience. So we are hearing and enjoying those stories, that's all. But we have never applied our mind how to make my mind receptive to hear his voice, to feel his presence, to have his darshan. So we are trying now to emphasize this point to ourselves, that we should earnestly try, earnestly make our efforts to pray to him to bless us with direct experience. Because only by direct experience we will become aware that he is within us. So that we will stop searching for him outside, number one. And number two, later on we feel it is he who, we will be able to understand Bhagavad Gita in a better way. When he said, Bijam Mam Sarvabhudanam Vidhi, previously we were understanding the literal meaning. Now we will slowly realize when he says, I am the Bijam of you all, everybody. So I am the source, I am the origin, I am the root. I have actuated your life. I have given you your life. Suddenly we were planning, we have to do everything. Suddenly we realize the truth that He has assigned this role. He has actuated my life. He has been providing everything to me through His different creation, so that my burden is off. I forget this, again I may get into so many. But again, because I am blessed with the direct experience, initially it will come and go, come and go, come and go, touch and go, But slowly it will get stabilized. This is what we have seen from the lives of Mahatmas. So the time has come for all of us to intensely pray for this. That is the message, In Quest of God, first book, first chapter, first para, Papa is bringing out. How do we start our quest for God? So the first thing we have to do in Quest of God is to have a direct experience, even though for a short period. The first and foremost thing in Quest of God is to feel an intense aspiration to have His presence within. Later on, we do everything that is possible to get ourselves stabilized in it. But first of all, we should know. So we take it that is why Papa brought it in the first page, and the book has been named as In Quest of God. So In Quest of God, in the first chapter, in the first page, in the first para, he brings out this. We will again go through that particular portion. For nearly a year, Ramdas struggled on in a world full of chaos, anxieties and pains. It was a period of terrible stress and restlessness, all of his own making. In this utterly helpless condition, full of misery, where is relief, where is rest? This was the heart's cry of Ramdas. The cry was heard. From the great void came the voice. That means the clarity is there right from the beginning, from the great void, nameless, formless reality. Nameless, formless reality, at the same time all enveloping. It is not a void. It is not a void that stands for nothingness. It is a great void where everything is included. The big container. And from the great void came the voice, despair not, trust me, thou shalt be free. And this was the voice of Ram. And who is Ram? Ram is a subtle and mysterious power that pervades and sustains the whole universe. These encouraging words of Ram proved like a plank thrown towards a man struggling for very life in the stormy waves of a raging sea. The great assurance soothed the aching heart of helpless Ramdas like gentle rain on thirsting earth. Thenceforward, a part of the time that was formerly totally devoted to worldly affairs was taken up for the meditation of Ram, who for that period gave him real peace and happiness, relief. During that period, again, back to square one. Gradually love for Ram, because he had given a taste of his presence within. Gradually, a love for Ram, the giver of peace, increased. The more Ramdas meditated on and uttered his name, the greater the relief and joy he felt. That is the second stage, Gradually, love for Ram, the giver of peace, increased. The more Ramdas meditated on and uttered his name, the greater the relief and joy he felt. Nights, which are free from worldly duties, were in course of time utilized for Ram Bhajan, with scarcely 1 or 2 hours rest. His devotion for Ram progressed by leaps and bounds. During the day, when cares and anxieties were besetting him due to monetary and other troubles, Ram was coming to his aid in unexpected ways. Slowly the grumbling and complaining, mumbling, everything slowly was receding. During the day, when cares and anxieties were besetting him due to monetary and other troubles, Ram was coming to his aid in unexpected ways. So whenever free from worldly duties, be the period ever so small, he would meditate on Ram and utter his name. So side by side with the chanting, contemplation was also going on. It was not merely chanting. So whenever free from worldly duties, be the period ever so small, he would meditate on Ram and utter his name. Walking in the streets, he would be uttering Ram, Ram, Ram. Ramdas was now losing attraction for the objects of the world. How the dispassion was welling up in his heart, he beautifully describes. Because of these priorities shifted to him, the other one got dropped off by itself. Not that he developed any vairagya. Ramdas was now losing attraction for the objects of the world. Sleep, except for 1 or 2 hours in the night, was given up for the sake of Ram. Fineries in clothes and dress were replaced by coarse qadar. Bed was substituted by a bare mat. Food first 2 meals were reduced to 1 meal a day, and after some time this too was given up for plantains and boiled potatoes. Chilies and salt were totally eschewed. No taste but for Ram. Meditation of Ram continued apace. It encroached upon the hours of the day and the so-called worldly duties. Meditation, mananam was going on, continued apace. It encroached upon the hours of the day and the so-called worldly duties. So now I think today all of us are very clear about how the spiritual journey got started in Papa's life. And what was it that was sustaining him throughout? It all started from that voice. It all started from hearing that voice. It all started from experiencing his presence within, in the form of voice. Is it becoming more and more clear?
Definitely, Swami. Yes, definitely.
Yes, sir.
Nobody else is answering.
Yes, Swami, we are right.
Yes, yes, Swami. Yes, Swamiji.
No.
Swamiji, yes.
So that was the first and important vital point in our. Now we know that is one on which we have to keep it in our mind and move towards that. And not merely that, then the next one comes bidding farewell to all that we have been holding on to. Our not that it is not that we are leaving anything. We had this relationship and possession with the feeling that it will give us joy. When we knew a better factor which has given us this joy, an abiding joy, eternal joy, naturally the preference for that will be there, which resulted in losing his interest, losing attraction for rest of the things. It is not the other way. We try to practice vairagya. No, it will never be a success. When we prioritize something more than this, automatically it drops off, or the attraction toward them gets receded, reduced. So again we are back to one only. We have to somehow prioritize, and watch ourselves whether we are losing interest on anything other than that. That is why he said, body, mind, intellect and soul all were laid at the feet of God. No portion of his personality was attached to anything. So again we are back to first only. And the third one is to make a firm commitment that I will not leave this. He was prompted to take the discipline, to adopt a discipline called sannyas, so that his commitment towards dedication of his entire being to God and his service gets stamped. We find now a chronological order in all this. Followed by developing a positive aspect everywhere, because God has actuated his life and God will not go wrong. So whatever we name it as negative is not negative, it is all positive. And to again confirm, concretize, he was trying to see his signature in everything. The source of all is that, source of all is that, source of all is that. Everything, every moment. When we have reached that stage of fulfillment and non-fulfillment, both are his will, not at all perturbed. And be highly creative. He had gone through this, directly. Suppose he had kept it to himself. You and I will not be dwelling upon it today also, It was that prompting when he was back to the Panchapandava cave, the living condition even today inside is very difficult. So think about it, how it was 100 years back. And there when he was back, he was prompted to write down everything as if, it's a running commentary. As he was reliving every moment, as if he has written at every day. So if it has to come before him, parade before him with all minutest details, okay, what sort of creativity it is, no? To remember everything in this with all minutest detail and to put it in a form. That too not in a favorable background. In a cave where hardly there is any light in the night. During the day, he does not have any stationery. Unlike today, no such facilities were there. Somebody was telling us, even on, suppose somebody had written or somebody has left anything on the piece of paper, he writes this. And at a particular moment, somebody was kind enough to look at this, and immediately he was inspired to tell that this should come in the form of a book. And we were told, in 1925, somehow it came out as a book. 2025 becomes the centenary of In Quest of God centenary book. First edition 1925. For 100 years this book has been here, 98 years now. Ever since he made us to get in touch with him, probably most of us have been having this text with us. Because this is the Magna Carta, Constitution. This is our starting point, the support. This is how we were introduced to Papa. This is how we were introduced to sadhana. This is how we were introduced to chanting. Everything that we do now owe to this book. In that book, the first page, in the first chapter, he gives us everything, It contains everything, the ideal, the methodology, everything. So be original, be creative, be productive. Let us see tomorrow whether we can move forward.
Swamiji, one day you were telling Swamiji that we remember God as separate. That sometimes, actually when we sleep, everything becomes one. In deep sleep, everything becomes one. And sometimes mind is so good that if somebody uses some word, we will feel there is no difference whether they use that word for us or we will use that word for them. Mind will be so good. Sometimes that oneness, sometimes it is there, but most of the times it is not.
It's all right. We are now praying. You have given us that, it is not a theory. You gave us such moments where we feel comfortable with everything. Why don't you please give us more? That's all. Because it is not a theory. It's a direct experience, But along with that, if we try to reduce anything that is going outward, anything that gives, we say we are happy with that, we are happy with this, that means not stabilized. So Papa, when he got this, whatever he did was to get it stabilized. So That's also an important point. That is why all these things came. His withdrawal, because slowly, that is an indication whether our commitment to retain that experience is there or not. How do we know? The moment we come out of it, again the mind craves for so many things outside. Naturally, it is not prioritized. Many devotees who have expressed it to us, they had that wonderful experience here in ashram in 70s, in 60s, but after that they have not got that, no? So after that, they were blessed with that experience. But in Papa's case, when he was blessed with that experience, God also made him to get stabilized in it. So in our case, even if he has given us some glimpses, no doubt, it is a solid asset for us. Absolutely, it's a solid asset for us. But at the same time, we should not be satisfied with that. We always pray and try to do everything in a manner in which we get stabilized. We always enjoy that, whatever he has given. And that is what Papa teaches us. In the first chapter itself, as soon as he heard, he wanted to retain, because during that particular period he was happy initially. Whenever he meditated and he was happy. Then, later on, he wanted to do more and more. The more he meditated, and chanted. So that was going on. In our case, probably we have not given that much importance for this dwelling within. Meditation. Meditation, we may give so many meanings, but here we can take it as deep reflection, contemplation, and entirely on this indwelling reality, nothing outside. If there is any attraction for anything outside, then we will not be able to sustain that, whatever we have got. Whether he is an individual or an object or a situation. In his case, all these three were Hindu. No personal form, no object, no particular situation. That is why every situation became positive. He was free from any sort of attachment to any objects or persons. Just think about it more and more. And so that we can all intensely pray, We cannot attain by ourselves. So now we can add. During our deep prayer moment, intense prayer moment, we can add this. You have given this to Papa when he was craving. You give me once. Yesterday we were remembering that bhajan, Alpamennagalum Vishramam Gulligil Dhanyamam Enude Jividam Orsan. Even if you are there for a short period, that will enrich my life. So first stage is that, and then efforts to get stabilized. That we will know for ourselves whether we have got any preference or attraction for any person, any object, any situation. If it is there, we have to keep on praying. I don't want anything except you, except you, except you, except you, except you, like that. You are trying to make it deceptive. Please don't do that. I may fall again. Very good. So now he is touching and kindling so many vital aspects of our sadhana. More of it tomorrow. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.
Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om. Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram Om.